TLO, what's poppin'? We are on Twitch. We are not live, but you can leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bells, man. Let's continue to grow the family from Chicago to the UK. Don't forget, man, we are partnered with the Respect My Blueprint Mastermind. I'm pulling up the link.
It's all of ours, man.
This is the clip, man. We got a bunch of these dropping with the round table, and he got guests on there regularly as well that drop on Thursday. So, salute, man. But that's not why we're here. Don't forget all of my old videos are over here on YouTube, man. If you got a YouTube, man, just go over here and follow me, man. I can only follow 500 people. So maybe I'll start following back until I get to 5,000, But yeah, man, the 15-year-old murdered on the way to her hairdressing job. Now keep in mind, YouTube, I do not glorify, sensationalize, or condone any of the acts or stories told. I'm here simply to educate myself and others on the history or current state of issues around the world. This is intended for mature audience only. It contains graphic descriptions and crime scenes and dialogue that is for adults and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. Let's get into this, man. This is brought to you by Socially Criminal. I'm not gonna lie. Somehow Socially Criminal has the juice to drop every documentary and not ever get in any type of situations. So I salute it. He has my support. Whoever this is behind this channel got my support. Yeah. Matter of fact, let me turn my bell on. Oh, dang. Here we go. Because I can't. I'm drinking apple cider, by the way. Like apple juice, but cider.
A tight-knit community.
Oh.
A schoolgirl fails to show up for her Saturday job.
It's sped up. That's how you do it. This is Wondershare. Okay. I think I used the same one to edit. Okay. Now I use Filmora. Okay.
I hadn't spoke to her through the day, and I started to phone my mum more, and I was like, that's weird.
Has she just gone off with friends?
She's going to be somewhere in Glasgow at a party.
It's not unusual for teenagers to be missing.
Or has something more sinister happened?
I think you know somebody and you don't, How the hell did that happen on your own doorstep? Right on your own doorstep.
Have you seen Paige?
I remember saying to them, when are you going to start searching ditches for a body?
What's crazy about business?
Dang, immediately, okay. You get into that bag. That's tough.
Paige Doherty had grown up in Whitecrook, on the bank of the River Clyde. She was a popular and fun-loving teenager.
Everybody knew Paige through our selfies. Like, everybody knew her through parties and selfies, and always been on social media. Like,
I've known Paige since I've been 7 years old. We went and played in the playground and that, and just been best pals since then. Always on our phones, always talking about boys, and always putting fake tan on.
Paige
Fake tan in Scotland is hilarious. It's like no sun, right?
lived with her mum Pamela, stepdad Andrew, and her siblings.
She was a really helpful, bubbly wee girl. She would do anything for anybody. She was really well-mannered.
Wait, Paige Doherty? I feel like that's a family that's very, very known. It gotta be.
I suppose she was generous. She would give Andy a last penny.
Like for bare knuckle boxing.
She was a really well-rounded wee girl. She was obviously had her moments, her tantrums and things with us as a teenager.
She was a typical teenager. Loads of dreams, loads of ambitions,
90% of them were crazy, but that was just her. But she was lovable, likeable. She just, and a madam. If there was a camera around, Paige was about. So she was pouting constantly, adorable in every way.
However, on Saturday the 19th of March 2016, everything in the community was about to change. It was the day Paige Doherty went missing.
Oh, Doherty is how you pronounce it.
Paige had spent Friday night staying at her best friend Lauren's house. They were both up early to go to their respective Saturday jobs.
We both went down the stair. I was getting my shoes on, and Paige was just...
I understand, but see, this is my thing, bro. This is me personally as a father in America. Yes, I want my child to have a daughter. I mean, my daughter to have a job. I want her to work for everything. I want her to understand morally that nobody is going to provide for you unless you get up and do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? I want her to understand that as a child. So when she gets older, she's not dependent on anybody else to get it for her. But I'm going to take her. I'm going to pick her up from where you can spend the night out, but I'm going to take you to where you're spending the night. I'm going to pick you up from there, and I'm going to take you to work, and I'm going to pick you up from work, and I'm going to take you wherever you want to go. I'm going to be the chauffeur. No bus, no walking, no my friend is taking me. I'm sorry. I'm going to do it. That's just me. Sorry.
In the kitchen, because my mum had made her the packed lunch. And Paige was just in the kitchen because my mum had made her the packed lunch. She was like, right, okay, I'll see you later and that. And then this is when she gave me the cuddle right here. She went, catch you or something like that. And then I went like, right, I'll see you later. And then that was something.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be pausing a lot. The Scottish people, one of the hardest accents that I've ever heard. I'm trying, I'm getting better, but it's harder than Scouse.
The girls normally remained in contact via social media during the day. So when Lauren hadn't heard from Paige, she was worried something was wrong.
I was like, that's weird. I've not heard from her all day. And I started to phone my mum more, and I was like, that's weird. And I had texted her mum and asked Pamela if she had spoke to her, and she was like, no, she's just at her work and that, and she's not due until whatever time.
Paige's mum, Pamela, wasn't initially concerned by her daughter's lack of contact.
I've not heard from her. I said, but she'll still be working now. I said, she doesn't finish till about 6:30. I said, so I just gave her a wee bit of time. She says, but I've not heard from her all day. And I said, oh, I wouldn't worry. I said, she's obviously forgot her charger or something. She went, oh, she might have left her charger in mine. Or, I said, that's fine.
By 6 p.m, Paige had failed to return home after her Saturday job. But stepdad Andrew assumed there was an innocent explanation.
I'm thinking she's going to be somewhere in Glasgow at a party, and she's just done it off her. She just kind of went, I'm going, and that's it. I already had it all planned out that she was grounded for this amount of time, and she was getting this took off her, and this was happening.
But having heard nothing from her all day, it was Paige's friends who felt something was wrong and turned to social media to try to track her down.
Friends.
I remember messaging a few people that I knew at Paige.
Friends know you best. You got to remember, man. Humans, no matter how young, what creed, what color, we're all creatures of habits. And if a habit is broken, something up normally. Wait a minute. Rather it be something like with your attitude. What's wrong with you? You all right? This didn't happen today. Something is up.
Paige knew and hung about with, and they were like, no, but I'm not here for her. And I just remember going on her Snapchat and checking, and there was nothing there.
I had messaged her saying, Paige, where are you? Get home. And it was read, but never answered. That was so out of character.
As the evening wore on, and with no contact from Paige at all, Pamela made a shocking discovery. Paige had never made it to her shift at the hairdressers.
That was nearly 12 o'clock, I think, before we realised, where is she? And I think that's when we all started to get worried and think, Like, at least try and get a hold of her, phoned her, WhatsApp, Facebook, and nothing. None of the messages were being delivered, phone was straight to voicemail, so nothing, we couldn't get a hold of her at all in any way. And that's when we thought, right, something's not right here, I think, towards the end of the night.
I phoned the police as soon as I knew she hadn't turned up to work, because I knew that's out of character.
Told you it's out of character. Hold on.
With nothing to indicate a crime had taken place, police logged the call as a missing persons case.
There's 84 missing people per day in Police Scotland. You know, and of that, roughly a third of that will be under 16s. So 30 a day, if you say on average, you know, that's a huge amount.
There wasn't anything which struck us as being particularly unusual in relation to this missing person investigation. It's not unusual for teenagers to be missing and out of contact with their family as they maybe go to friends' houses and they're maybe not quite so aware of the concern that their parents will have when they're out of touch. It's very unusual for something untoward to happen to them.
But as the day drew to an end, those closest to Paige were asking, how could a 15-year-old girl disappear without a trace on the way to her Saturday job?
By midnight, I had said to you, Paige's heart, she would never have let it get to midnight without telling us where she was if she was able to. Everybody kept saying, no, you're overreacting. I kept saying, no, I'm not. Something's happened.
This is a DD2
There's an appeal from the family of a teenager from Clydebank, Paige Doherty. The 15-year-old hasn't been seen since leaving for her Saturday job at a hairdresser's.
In Clydebank, Scotland, the close-knit community of Whitecrook had woken up to the news that much-loved 15-year-old Paige Doherty had been missing for 24 hours.
Come forward, even if you think it's something stupid, just say it, just it could help.
Concerns for her safety were growing, and the community rallied together in the hope of finding Paige before it was too late.
Just driving round, looking. You were driving, so you were slowing down, and if they're dark here, you were kind of tooting the horn for them to turn round if they were facing the opposite direction. I was hoping that I would see her with one of her friends, laughing and joking, as if nothing was wrong. You were hoping that every teenager that you passed that had the dark hair, you would think, right, that's her. We were all hoping she was just being a typical teenager.
Felt helpless. Just kept doing this, looking to see if we had saw any of our stuff or anything like that, because we didn't really know what to look for at this time. We were sharing posts everywhere, going out, putting posters out, asking people, bus drivers, like train drivers, everybody.
Seeing everybody in Clydebank come together and putting up statuses, posters, making sure like it was out there. People were knowing that Paige was missing and she needs to be found.
As
I had to put the dang on subtitles on.
the day wore on, fear spread through the neighbourhood.
As the hours ticked by, the town was becoming more and more nervous.
I was like, oh, where is she? Like, why has she not told Pamela where she is or whatever? Why has she not come home from work? Like that, because Paige would always come home. The longer it was, like, the more worried I got.
I remember saying to them, when are you going to start searching ditches for a body? And the police saying, we've no reason to believe that your daughter's harmed. They said to me 9 times out of 10 they come home. And I can remember saying, well, 1 time out of 10, this one's no coming home. You need to look for a body.
Straight up.
With the neighborhood search revealing nothing,
I swear, the police be thinking everything be sweet. Like, just get up and go look. Like, something's out of the norm. We're telling you. We're not overreacting. We're not panicking. This is our child. You know what I'm saying? We know we don't know every move, but this is way out of the ordinary. Like, can you please assist?
the police investigation intensified.
The thing that was unusual for us that we got a 15-year-old girl who is normally in regular contact with her friends and family. And at that point, the concerns for her safety began to increase. They searched the home address to make sure that the Paige wasn't within the home address, and also anything which might give us cause for concern in relation to their disappearance.
Police began house-to-house inquiries to retrace Paige's last movements from the morning she went missing.
The Sunday morning, officers attended at several local businesses and they received information from the owner of a newsagent's that Paige had been seen entering a takeaway shop at around 8:20 on the Saturday morning. The owner of those premises confirmed that she had attended in the shop, had purchased a hot snack and had thereafter left to get a bus to work.
Okay. That's
The
before
owner
work,
of the
so she did
newsagent
go to
told
work.
police he had spoken to Paige on the Saturday morning.
Or she went almost to work.
About 8:15 and I seen Paige walking by that path and I shouted, "All right, Paige," and she shouted back, "I'm all right, Ash," and I said, "I'll see you later on." And that was the last I seen her. And she went into the roll shop. She always walked past this way.
Deli owner John Latham told police Paige was a regular customer and had dropped by to pick up breakfast that Saturday morning as normal.
We were travelling to school together. We used to just go in and get a roll in the morning and get the bus to school.
She had come into the deli that morning and she had bought a roll and sausage and she told him she was going to her work.
Now able to pinpoint Paige at the heart of the community Saturday morning, police turned their attention to the bus route which she would have taken to work.
We interviewed bus drivers, you know, so we got CCTV or whatever. So everyone that travelled on the bus that morning, they were all interviewed. So, you know, we went to extreme lengths to follow up the route.
But as Sunday turned into Monday, there were no
So we're saying, she never made it to work. I'm sorry if I missed that. My baby mama's texting me. But she never made it to work.
positive sightings.
Is that confirmed yet?
And people were getting desperate.
We knew that pretty much everyone who had so much as met Paige had been questioned. The community policing team are very, very proactive.
Just walking about in a total daze.
So surreal. Didn't seem like real life. You sleep, you don't eat,
You don't function.
Man, I wouldn't even be able to, man, couldn't nobody tell me nothing if my daughter went missing. No. I'm like Taken, what's dude from Taken, that movie? I'm him. I'm sorry.
1 o'clock in the morning and that 1 o'clock turned into 2, 3, 4, it goes on, it starts getting light outside and then this is another day now. Where you're up and you're ready to see what this day's going to bring.
Look, if you're ambitious, you're young, you want to make money, and you see all these different guys balling online, right? You see the gurus, you see the social media marketing guys, you see the drop shippers, and you're really sick of it, and you're like, bro, how do I get some of this money? I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. All of these people sell courses, okay? And it's not because they're bad, it's not because they're scammy, contrary to popular belief. Courses
By day 3 of this missing persons case, priorities had started to shift.
On Monday the 21st of March, a major incident room was established at Clydebank Police Office.
Sorry, hold on.
By that time,
priorities had started to shift.
On Monday the 21st of March, a major incident room was established at Clydebank Police Office. By that time, Paige was a high-risk missing person. Shortly after, officers were dispatched on numerous inquiries.
Oh, now,
While it was still a missing
2-3 days
persons
later.
case, police now had to consider the possibility that if Paige was found, she may not be alive.
Yeah, the first 48 hours gone.
Investigations honed in on those closest to her.
As investigators, you know, we always immediately think, right, it's usually somebody that is known. Who are all the people round about her?
That's
that
true.
involves family, friends, boyfriends, somebody who's friendly with. There's usually a connection, so that's always going to be one of our first lines of inquiry.
With the pressure intensifying, the police sent specialist search officers into the family home.
The police came quite early. It must have been about 10:30, and they were coming to take statements from us and search our house.
While police searched Paige's home, a body was found.
An investigation's been launched after a body was found in Clydebank. Police were called out to an area just off Great Western Road about 1:45 this afternoon. Identification still to take place.
The body of a young woman had been discovered locally.
Okay.
I can see where the body's lying. Her head facing me, and her legs were pointing kind of further in towards the
opposite way.
The bushes and the trees there. Her arms were up over her chest. Some effort to try and conceal her with just grass that had been pulled over.
Clearly, I don't know if it's suspicious.
Maybe it's just because I be watching all of these documentaries and I don't watch any of them from the USA. But it just seems like this be happening so often out there. Maybe it's because I specifically be looking for them. It gotta be because I be specifically be. My bad. It's because I'm specific. I'm sure it happens more here.
But given the circumstances, in my
Nevertheless,
mind, I'm thinking.
It's a messed up situation.
Clearly, I don't know if it's suspicious, but given the circumstances, in my mind, I'm thinking this is a real potential that this is a child murder. What was a priority for me is that we kept a missing person inquiry open, because the potential is we've got a 15-year-old who's still out and about, and we've got a potential of getting her back to her loved ones. So identification of the bodies is critical. There is a chance that might not be our missing person, Paige Doherty.
With the body still at the crime scene, forensic scientist Dr. Neve Stevenson was called in to uncover clues as to the identity of the victim, how she died, and who could be responsible.
I'm confronted with the body of a very young girl, a very pretty girl, and she has got amongst the worst injuries I've ever seen. She's got very serious injuries to her neck and her upper body. She's got a lot of blood staining on her body. There's very little blood staining actually around her body. So that to me suggests that she has not been assaulted in this area, that this is a deposition site. So this is where her body has been taken to after she's been assaulted somewhere else.
The body was clearly that of a young woman, but the identity still needed to be established.
They needed somebody to come down and make sure it was her.
His family were informed.
Two CID came. We went up the stairs to Paige's room, and they said there's no easy way to tell, is that he's not going to beat about the bush, but that a body has been found and they don't know whether it's Paige or somebody else.
I was just on Facebook and it said a woman's body. It never said, like, I thought if it would be Paige, they'd be like, oh, it's a young...
I need to start marking these videos, man, just in case they come back and be like, oh, you got to delete all of them. Gonna mark them in the title. My bad, random thoughts, sorry.
It never said, like, I thought if it would be Paige, they'd be like, oh, it's a young girl's body or whatever. But it was a woman's body, so that way I was kind of in the back of my mind was like, hopefully it's not her.
You know, your whole world's turned upside down. There's one body been found, and you're hoping it's no the badges to come to you, but you're still got that the horrendous feeling inside you. You know, everybody in Whitecrook, not just me and my family. A lot of people are friends, and you know, all hoping it wasn't Paige, but somebody's going to get bad news.
The body needed to be identified, and Paige's family were called to the morgue.
It was just me and Andrew that went in, and it was a screen, like a TV screen. And they brought the picture up, and I can remember you just collapsing on the couch, kinda, as if his legs had just came away from me. And I looked round at the police and says it was definitely her. Her face was tilted slightly, so I couldn't see anything significant, and I just thought she looked peaceful. She just looked like a baby again. She just looked so young.
Sad.
I was a mess. I'd spent so long thinking she was coming home.
It's not something that you think that your family's going to go through. You see these things in the news, and you always say, oh God, that poor family.
Aye.
But you never think you'll be that poor family.
That's sad.
My mobile rang, and I thought, it's not good news. And the wee soul couldn't even speak. But she didn't have to speak, I knew. So obviously, sorry.
It's okay, take your time.
I phoned my husband and everybody and said, unfortunately, it was Paige.
The CID had came to my house. They kind of just said it straight away, like, just my full body was shaking, and I just felt physically sick. You feel like that you're in a dream one minute and then you're not.
With the devastating news that the body was that of Paige, the community reacted with shock that there was a child killer amongst them.
It went from the case of a missing teenager to a murdered teenager with a murderer on the loose in this tiny little community. It was a real moment of realisation that they actually couldn't trust the people that were living next door.
The hunt for the killer was now on.
I took the decision to go out early in the media and confirm it was a homicide inquiry.
What I need to ask is, if you were here and stopped in this location, or if you saw anything suspicious, you saw any cars, saw anything that you just think's out of the ordinary, please come forward.
Police inquiry that had just been launched, and at that time everyone was wondering who's responsible, and it was a manhunt basically to find who had done this.
It's gotta be a communal thing when a kid meets an untimely demise, like, and by somebody, like, we all gotta come together as a community, man. Cause that ain't right, man.
Little girl.
And it wasn't long before the community started to look to itself for answers.
You're looking at people wondering, was it them? You know, you'd a lot of things just through your mind.
Terrifies me that it's somebody that could be living next door to, somebody that could watch your kids, somebody could be in and out your family. You just don't know.
I'm trying to establish at that time what are the motives. Why would somebody kill a 15-year-old child? There were no suspects, and that's genuine.
The streets were bare here because there's nobody been caught for this. B. Paige has been murdered. People are concerned, people are worried. And rightly so, because you don't know who's done this. You don't know if they're going to strike again.
We need to piece together the movements of Paige from 8:20 Saturday morning when she went missing until we find the body here at 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon.
Is it possible she was attacked by someone that she knew?
I can't give a definitive. I am open-minded to all motives to this murder.
Lennar has a hot selection of homes for sale right now throughout
I don't care. So where is it? Like who? Like what neighborhood is this?
In the close-knit community of Whitecrook, everyone's worst fears had been realised when missing teenager Paige Doherty had been found, brutally murdered.
Why was she killed? How was she killed? There were so many questions surrounding Paige's death.
When the police received the result of the post-mortem, it revealed details of a frantic attack, which pointed towards an extremely violent and callous killer.
There were 61 stab wounds to the body. Now, 43 of them, which were stab wounds, were to basically the head and neck area. The significant injury to that body was to the left-hand side of the neck. And beyond the stab wounds, there were approximately above 80, I think it was 85 incised wounds, which we would call a slashing movement. The injuries were so forensic and so horrific. It was a sustained attack. This wasn't one stab wound. These were multiple stab and slash wounds. We've got someone out there who's committed this act. We've got someone out there who can commit an act so heinous, so vicious, that he's still out there.
Yeah, bro, that's disgusting, bro. And keep in mind the age of this young lady, man. R.I.P., man.
The stabs were through her head, on her marks on her face, but the majority of the wounds that were inflicted were on her neck. She didn't have a chance. She didn't have a chance.
News of a killer on the loose terrified the community.
It was a real cloud of fear that came over the town, and I think everyone was that little bit more terrified to let their kids out, because even the people that you knew could be the most dangerous people in the world.
For this to happen to a girl at the same age as you, it makes you think, like, you can't trust anyone. Like, how can you trust going anywhere?
So I was like so anxious, and it was physically making me ill. I was just being sick, constant sore stomachs, and I was so scared to go to sleep and everything.
And I'm saying to myself, you know, who done it? You're wondering, you're looking at people, you know, any kind of shifty-looking people, and so many things.
I'm sorry, I don't know what this gentleman is saying. Willie Monroe, Paige's stepdad. I'm sorry, sir. One more time.
You know, and I'm saying to myself, you know, who done it?
I'm saying to myself, who done it?
You're wondering, you're looking at people, you know, any kind of shifty-looking people.
Shifty-looking people.
So many things, so many emotions, so many things through your mind.
People are thinking, oh, there must be someone, we need to find out whoever done this. He must be about here somewhere. And the words were saying by me was, he's got to be close by. It can't be far away. He's got to be close by here. Someone knows this area.
With tensions running high in the neighbourhood, police needed to work fast to find the perpetrator.
We had no clear suspects. We looked clearly into her full background, and there is nothing to indicate whatsoever that there could be any motive or any underlying issue that somebody would want to target Paige. And that is a lonely place. As an SIO and as a major investigation team, because people want answers. To the side of it there, you can see.
With no solid leads, police went back to the spot of her last positive sighting and re-examined statements from key witness John Latham, who had served Paige at his deli on the Saturday morning before she left to catch her bus to work.
From that point, John Latham had told us she had left the deli to when her body was recovered just after midday on the Monday.
But where had Paige gone after leaving John's shop?
We had to fill every piece of that in. So every route potentially that she walked, every bus potentially.
Desperate for answers, police re-examined CCTV footage of the shops to establish Paige's next movements. But what they discovered was to shock them to the core. John Latham had lied.
My two CCTV guys came rushing into the room to basically say, you need to come and see this.
We see Paige enter the deli. John Latham's movements became unusual. Something's untoward see that there's shutters are down where the shop should be open. He's left the shop running to someone's rest to bring back his car. So at this point we're thinking the shutters are down, he's run away from the deli. Paige hasn't come out yet. I think something's happened in the shop.
Paige had entered the deli as stated, but she never walked out, as John Latham had claimed.
So why is this being this? Y'all looked at this photography footage before and didn't find this out till after y'all found out she was gone? Like weeks later, or like at least 5-6 days. This is awesome detective work.
The CCTV footage appeared to show John Latham return in his car, then carry Paige's lifeless body out of his deli and dump her in his boot.
The hairs in the back of my spine. It was almost, you know, the callousness.
It's like are you kidding me right now? Like how? You gotta be joking. Some of this stuff be honestly just unbelievable. So y'all telling me when y'all was looking through the footage earlier, y'all missed all of that? Or did y'all not even, y'all just trusted bro word and just didn't?
The hairs in the back of my spine. It was almost, you know, the callousness, I can't describe it, quite frankly. It was surreal. It was a moment that you don't see things like that.
Police now thought they had their man and prepared for an arrest.
What's so important for me is that he doesn't slip the net, he doesn't get away, you don't get him. It's also important at that point in time to think about the local community, because how are they going to react?
With police closing in on their suspect, Paige's family had to be informed.
Police said, "Are you in the house?" She said, "I want everybody to promise that they're not going to try and leave this house." And we're like, "Why?" And she said, "We're in the process of detaining a 31-year-old man."
They said they were going through the doors of 2 premises and that it was a local man. They couldn't give us his name. They're not allowed to give us his name. But they did say to Pamela, "You do know him." Pamela was trying to figure out who he was.
I knew that that community would be devastated when they found out who had murdered Paige.
See, this is why I don't be liking people talking to my kid, my daughter, or nothing. Like, don't say nothing to my daughter. Like, don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry. I'll be on a train with my daughter. This dude was like, "Oh, she's adorable. She's so cute." And he said it like 8 times. And I looked at him. I was like, "I heard you. Okay, I get it. Like, cut it out. Like, straight up. Like, don't do that because I'm one of them. Okay, I heard you." What's wrong with you?
Paige Doherty.
Want to join the 6-figure club? Google.
No, I don't. I want to listen to see what happened to Paige's murderer. Honestly.
In the past few minutes,
It's L policing, L detective work, L community.
police have announced that John Latham's been arrested in connection with the death
My bad, community. It ain't even an L community. It's just one person in the community. Just L.
of Clydebank teenager Paige Doherty.
Detectives raided the delicious deli here on Fleming Avenue. Now, that's the last place that Paige was seen last Saturday morning.
When the identity of the chief suspect was revealed, the whole community was in shock.
He had always seemed really friendly, and that was probably one of the most frightening things for people in the community, is that he did, up until this point, always seem very, very normal.
No, no Johnny, it wasn't Johnny. Johnny's a nice guy. Johnny's a lovely guy. He passed by me every day, him and his wife, the baby, how you doing, and, you know.
It's always the unexpected. It's always the unexpected. He got no upper lip. It's always the unexpected person. Like, look. It's always that one, like, just a little something.
How you doing? You know, I never give that man a second thought.
John Latham opened the Delicious Deli in 2013 and moved to a flat nearby in 2015 with his new wife and baby.
When John was arrested, we knew that obviously he had lived in the area for a few years. He had a wife and a young baby, and he was a well-respected businessman. He had really built it up from nothing, and he had done really well with it. He was a loving dad, loving husband, hard-working man, and appeared to the outsider to be a really friendly guy that was a big part of the community.
See what I be talking about? The really friendly, like, okay, on the train, like I said earlier, okay, you might just be being friendly, but it's them overly friendly people that be on that type of stuff. Like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, cut it. Don't do that, because don't play with me on this train.
Community here, they welcomed him in. They went to his shop every day. People spent a lot of money across there because they liked him, you know, liked his food, you know, he seemed like a nice guy.
When I used to go into the shop...
All the cover.
No, the guy seemed okay, you know what I mean? He was pretty decent.
I thought it might have been a mistake. I just couldn't believe it, you know what I mean? He was so friendly, it was unbelievable. He made a chance of winning the lottery, I would say, than I'm doing.
Hey, grow your facial hair then, not you. No facial hair, no wrinkles. That's a red flag for me.
Unbelievable. He made a chance of winning the lottery, I would say, than I'm doing that.
Willie Monroe even...
Don't forget, I'm pointing here, I'm reporting as the news. YouTube. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just overwhelmed with with what's going on right now. And these are my emotions that are being put on display in front of all of these people watching. And I just don't like this type of behavior or hearing this type of stuff. But I watch it for the community, for the gang, for my homies, for y'all who want to watch this with me. So I'm going to go watch Family Guy after this. This is the type of stuff that really get under my skin. Because let's be real, it couldn't have been avoided. But like everybody, it could have came to a conclusion earlier if 12 would have just did 12ing correctly. You know what I'm saying? Just be some upstanding, oath abiding detectives and detect. How you missed that?
Members speaking to John Latham while the whole community was out searching for Paige. To John Latham while the... Willie Monroe even remembers speaking to John Latham while the whole community was out searching for Paige.
Okay.
As I was leaving the shop door, he said to me, "How you coping, big man?" straight to my face over the counter. You know, how callous is that? Knowing me, 3 hours later, he was charged with murdering Paige.
Latham was now in custody. But he maintained his innocence.
Man, hey, I said all of that about, bro. We got 14 minutes left. It might not be.
Ask questions about the murder of Paige Doherty, which took place between 08:15 hours on Saturday the 19th of March 2016 and 12:45 hours on Monday the 21st of March 2016. So are you adamant we will find no forensic evidence linking you to Paige Doherty? No. You sure about that? Positive. And when you say positive, is that because you didn't murder Paige Doherty?
With Latham denying his involvement, Police had to prove he had killed Paige inside the deli and called in the forensics team.
The whole street, from that yellow box right across to that tree, was all cornered off, and the tents were all put up there. The forensics team were in. They bought a big police unit thing to see if people would come in and see what they felt, how did they see anything.
We got warrants for both the Delicious Deli, we got a warrant for his house round the corner, and a warrant for his car.
So I come into the kitchen area and I'm looking for any visible, obvious blood staining, and I didn't see any. I then went into this office area and there was no obvious blood staining either. If there had been an assault in this room, then I would expect to find more. It looked neat, it looked tidy. It did not look like there'd been a disturbance in here.
It's 6. I might have spoke too soon, okay? Hold on. I need meal prep badly. My bad.
Like there'd been a disturbance in here.
Do I got ADHD? My bad.
ID. It did not look like there'd been a disturbance in here.
With no sign of a crime having taken place inside the deli, police were baffled.
Unfortunately for us, and almost that slight disappointment feeling that we had, that there was nothing to indicate that that had been an assault site.
I questioned, is it potentially, was Paige still alive when she was taken from the shop? Has she been taken somewhere else and murdered?
But then, compelling new evidence came to light. John Latham's neighbour came forward with new information, which appeared to support the police theory that Paige had been killed in the shop.
And I seen Paige, she had black jeans on, a black jacket, and Nike trainers on. When I seen her that Saturday morning, going by me, and I said, "Oh, bye, I'll see you later on." She says, "Okay." And then she went in there. Within the space of 5 minutes, his shutters had came down. And then he came onto the scene about 9:30. Out there, was moving the boards, came out there at 9:30, and me and the lady, the hairdresser woman, turned and says, "What's that you got on your nose?" He goes, she goes, "Blood." And he turned and says, "I just after taking a nosebleed." And then he goes, then he went back into his shop, then I came back to my shop, and he came into my shop just after 10 to get black bags off of my boy.
Ashley told the police John Latham had bought.
When did you tell the police this? When did you not tell them this the first time they interviewed you? Like, I'm lost. Like, I don't understand why, or is it just the documentary that's making it sound like they did?
Bleach, antibacterial wipes, and bin bags from his shop that morning. With this information, police re-examined the deli.
We're looking for blood, we're looking for fibres, we're looking for hair, we're looking for weapons. These are all critical pieces of forensic evidence.
We lifted the floorboards and there was blood staining found between the floorboards. There was some blood staining on this oven here, and there was some blood staining between the fridge and the freezer, as well as on the back of the wall.
So they had forensic in there at first, right? Forensics went in there, oh, it was neat, tidy, it didn't look like nothing happened here, so I'm gone. Instead of doing this in the first place, going that extra mile just to make sure.
A lot more blood had been present within this area of the office, but it had subsequently been cleaned up.
He'd made a real attempt to try and clean up this crime. It was quite clear from Neve's description of the blood within the scene that that had been the assault site. That was where Paige had died.
Police had their man. They had the evidence. But what they didn't have was a motive.
I'm going to...
What does it... So in the court of law in the UK, does a motive... In the court of law, let's be real, you got all of that. Does a motive really matter for a sentencing or for a guilty? Or do you just want the motive just to, you know, for closure type situation?
Charge you, John Latham, at Delicious Deli, They'd repeatedly attack, strike and stab the deceased to the face, neck and arms, and you did murder her. Do you understand the charge?
I understand what you're reading out here.
Have you anything to say?
You know what I think happened? I think bro made a pass. Not bro, my bad. I think this guy made a pass at her, and she did the right thing and declined and was like, "Yo, what? What? No." Then he was like, "Oh man, she's gonna tell everybody," so forth and so on.
What drove someone at the heart of a community to carry out such a barbaric and frenzied attack?
What do we have to do to get you to explain to us what is going on in that shop?
She's gone into your shop that morning to buy a roll for her breakfast, and she never walks out that shop again.
And what has caused Paige Doherty to be in that state? You're the only person who's been in and out of that shop. You're the only person who can tell us what happened.
That's a recreation, right? That's not the real footage in there. It's gotta be Oh, my bad. I'm tweaking. I'm thinking like.
In Clydebank, the body of schoolgirl Paige Doherty had been found brutally murdered, and local shopkeeper John Latham had been arrested and charged with killing, sending shockwaves through the community.
You'll go down in history. You know that.
But the question on everyone's was what had driven a popular member of the community to carry out such a horrific murder.
A lot of people got affected with this. You know, kids that even never knew Paige got affected with this because it can happen to them. You think you know somebody and you don't, you know?
Why would somebody want to do that to her?
And that was a big thing, was why would you want to hurt her?
It could have been any child that day. It could have been anyone walked in that day. There's no reason why it was Paige. That could have been my daughter. It could have been anybody. Hard for people of the area to think. There's no reason. He's the only person that knows why. He's the only person that can tell us.
And when John Latham appeared in court, he finally gave a glimpse into what had driven him to kill.
Okay. Finally, we about to get the detail. Let me sit up.
It was one of the first times that he had appeared at court since he had been arrested. It was completely intended that he would go. So it was a complete shock to us that he pled guilty at that hearing. We weren't prepared for it in any way. As more details poured out, it only became more shocking.
Give clearly an account through his defence at the court. He's trying to put some mitigating circumstance into about why it happened, what the motive for the murder was.
You claim that while in the course of preparing and serving the child with food,
I've never seen this. All right.
That while in the course of preparing and serving the child with food, you and she had a general conversation about work, as a result of which you decided to take down her details in the back office with a view to the potential offer of a part-time job.
Okay.
There, after discovering that she was only 15 years of age, you told her you could not employ her.
When he explained that to her, she then threatened to kill her and other members of her family that he had inappropriately touched her.
No evidence has been placed before me to support your assertion. It is not accepted by the Crown.
How does that cause someone so horrifically frenzied, vicious, extremely reaction to that?
Nah, we don't believe that.
I just don't get it.
At that stood up suddenly, the child started screaming. You immediately reacted by grabbing a knife on a back office and proceeded to stab her repeatedly.
With no history of mental illness and no previous convictions,
Are we believing that story, that she threatened to do that?
it seemed that on the 19th of March
She already had a job.
2016, John Latham snapped, an act that would change the life of everyone.
What causes somebody to be so extreme in their violence, to snap? It had to be sustained. It had to be over time. This isn't a couple of stab wounds. This isn't, you know, one stab wound in the heart and someone's died. This isn't
81.
an accident. I didn't mean to cause. This was sustained, extreme stabbing.
He tried to blacken her name
And that's a big thing for
in
me.
court with his stupid excuse,
Tried to blacken.
which wasn't an excuse anyway. It was pathetic.
Somebody that knows Paige can vouch for the type of person she is, and she would not destroy a family because she
I
wanted
don't
a job.
think
She
that
had
either.
a job.
Yeah,
You must say-
exactly. She's 15. Like, I've heard of the Mean Girls show, but no, she's not giving that. And I refuse to believe it, man. R.I.P. to Paige, man. Condolences to the family. This guy, bro. Something else.
Did he have a fantasy about Paige? I don't know.
And earlier they said, oh yeah, it could have been anybody, but I think it was targeted. He's seen her every single morning and you know.
After killing Paige, Latham put her body in his car and continued to serve customers in the deli until the end of the day.
Thereafter, you appear to have left the child's body locked in your garden shed while you took your wife and child out for the day. 2 days after the killing, you saw fit to dispose of the child's body in waste ground situated off Great Western Road, where she was subsequently found in the undergrowth.
Having pleaded guilty at the court hearing, no trial took place. Latham was jailed for 27 years.
Every time I hear a case and I hear the amount of time for something like that, oh my God, I wish he was in Texas so bad. I wish that boy was in Texas. Oh my God.
It's great we got him locked up. It's great they got a life sentence. Justice has been done. It will give
Not a life. Good 27.
Pamela and Andrew some kind of solace, but it will not give them the answer that they're looking for and that we're looking for.
You'll never be man enough to
come forward.
Pamela in the eye or me or anybody and say, listen, this is what happened that day. That's never going to happen.
We've got the life sentence. We don't have visiting hours. We don't have letters from her. We don't have anything. We've just got memories and a graveyard to visit. And that's wrong.
Hey, that's what I feel, man. In this situation, the family of Paige is the only people that got a life sentence. And of course, his dude's wife, who got to deal with this for the rest of her life. But they're the family of Paige, the only person with a life sentence. Because after 27 years, good behavior, he's up for parole.
John Latham's sentence was reduced to 23 years on.
I don't even want to hear it. I will turn this off.
John Latham's sentence was reduced to 23 years on appeal.
Notion.
Gotta be kidding me with that, bro. How?
His delicious deli lies abandoned.
I'm amazed at just how much it hasn't been touched. It's been left pretty much as John Latham left it on the night that he was arrested. You know, with the ice cream, the fridge is still on. Nothing in this room or this deli has moved on, very much the way that nothing in Whitecrook or Clydebank as a whole has ever really been able to move on, because this tragedy has really left such a horrendous fingerprint on this once very thriving and happy community.
Y'all ever watch something and it just ruined your like, I'm glad it's 7:03 p.m. because this, if I was to watch this earlier in the day, like, this would have ruined my entire day. Like, ruined it. I gotta watch some stuff with Patreon, but I'm not gonna be happy while I'm watching it.
It's not just William and Roe, it's sad. It's everybody, community sad, the wee friends are all devastated. You know, it's hard for everybody, and you, Paige.
For Paige's family, living their own life sentence following her brutal murder, they are determined to preserve her memory forever.
Paige was beautiful. Paige doesn't need to be remembered because of him. We don't even talk about him. We don't mention him. We don't want to think about him.
We live every day with Paige part of our lives. There isn't a day goes by that we don't speak about her. There isn't a day where...
Man, listen. It'd be rare one of these documentaries get the best of me, bro. But I have a daughter. Let's finish.
Our kids don't speak about her. She's involved in everything. Everything that we do. We just want everybody to remember her. Everybody to remember for who she was and not what happened to her.
The community of Whitecrook has been rocked by this appalling crime. But one question will always remain. What was the motive behind the killing?
I don't know, what's the reason behind it? What motivated him to go and do that to an innocent wee Wayne? Just a wee child, 15-year-old kid. There's no remorse in it. Why did you do it? She went into that shop and she never came back out. You know? How the hell did that happen on your own doorstep?
I think he's obsessed with Paige. I think there's a wee bit of obsession there. There's only two people that know what happened in that deli, and Paige is dead.
I like to think that it was just a moment of sheer insanity. I would love to know why he did it. Don't know if those are questions that we'll ever get answers to.
R.I.P. Paige, condolences to the family.